I would have hit 11% body fat sooner if I ate the way I'll show you in this video. Most busy guys waste years trying different diets, but never actually break and stay below 20% body fat. Just like I didn't, until I learned the hard way going from a typical bro style diet to an extreme bodybuilding diet. So if you're at 20% body fat or above, I'll show you the smarter way to reach 11 to 15% and actually sustain it. When I first tried to get lean, I was mostly binge reading bodybuilding.com forums and like watching bodybuilders on YouTube and what they ate, day in the life type of stuff.
Meal chicken, third meal chicken, fourth meal steak, fifth meal turkey, and sixth meal with the protein shake.
So I went for a classic diet, chicken breast, broccoli, brown rice, steak, sweet potato, oats, etc. It looked clean and I felt very disciplined doing it, but for years I wasn't actually losing much body fat at all. I was just slowly gaining a bit of muscle, and the mistake was thinking that clean food equals fat loss. And it doesn't. You still need to be in a proper deficit, and I just simply wasn't in one. But I didn't know at the time how to accurately track everything that I was doing, which actually became a game changer, not just for me, but for all my one-on-one clients, which I'll explain in a minute. If you've ever eaten clean for weeks but didn't notice a huge change, let me know in the comments. However, I still thought that I knew best, trying to figure it all out myself, yet really getting nowhere until I made this next mistake. So after not getting lean on the bro diet, I kind of gave up on the idea of ever being six-pack lean, and I told myself it's just my genetics, just the way I am. Or maybe the problem was I wasn't eating clean enough. Then a friend who was a former bodybuilder finally convinced me to try natural bodybuilding, so I gave it a crack, but only because he had done it and could actually help me do it. So I went even more extreme into a more bodybuilding style diet where I was pretty much eating like tuna and bean salads, rice cakes, protein shakes, typical stuff that you would expect. And I tried to make an already clean diet even cleaner. Though I still wasn't tracking accurately, I was just relying on healthy food, smaller portions, and a cleaner approach. And it did actually get me leaner, as you can see, with a bit more definition, but still nowhere near as ripped as I expected to be in order to compete on stage. And I really started to hate this diet because every day it was so similar. However, I didn't stop there. After my first bodybuilding competition, I thought the only way to go forward was to go even more extreme. And that's when I found out what it really takes to get stage ready shredded and why you shouldn't be focusing on this at all. So when I hired my pro coach, things went to a whole new level. For the final 10 to 12 weeks before my last competition, my diet was strictly this: boiled chicken with spices, baked sweet potato with no oil, steamed broccoli with a quarter of an avocado or a handful of almonds. No protein powders, no sauces, nothing else. Just those meals 4 times a day, and then either tea or black coffee and water. They were the only extras. Now, obviously it worked. I dropped all the way down to 6% body fat. It's the most shredded I've ever been on stage. This was also when I finally learned how to measure food accurately and track everything properly. So it was no surprise that I actually got this ripped because I knew exactly what I was eating every single day and what my body was doing. Sure, if I followed this earlier, I would have got ripped decades ago, but at a cost that I'm never going to pay again. So be honest with me, would you actually eat like this for 10 weeks straight? Let me know in the comments. Thing is, I've never done that diet again, and I never want you to do it either, and here's why. By the end of that prep, I couldn't stand sweet potato anymore. The cravings were insane. After the show, I binged so hard on just snacks and chips and went out for dinner, desserts, ice cream, that it wrecked me. 3-4 days, I was bloated, I was in pain, constipated, and it wasn't just the rebound. During that prep, I also lost about 20 to 25% of my training strength, like going from 120 kilos on the bench to struggling to lift 100 kilos and dreading every single workout, some of which took 2.5 to 3 hours to complete because I was so tired. I was constantly hungry, and I went to bed dreaming about food pretty much in my sleep every night. And that's when I realized that there's being shredded and there's sustainable, 2 different things. And all of this was because I was chasing this imaginary deadline instead of actually building something that I could sustain with a normal lifestyle, which is why if I had my time again, I would have done things a little bit differently, which I'll explain. So despite how effective that strict diet actually was, if I didn't have that strict deadline, I never would have gone that extreme. Instead of chasing 6% body fat, I would have aimed for 11% body fat, and I would have been absolutely stoked with that, with no need or desire to go and compete on stage. For most busy guys, 11 to 13% is the sweet spot. You'll look lean, you'll have muscle definition, veins, abs are visible, you're going to feel strong and keep progressing in your training, and you can actually sustain it without feeling starved. It's achievable no matter where you're actually starting from. So here's how I would eat instead. For carbs, rice, potato, oats, and fruit, even bread on occasion, because carbs are our body's preferred energy source. They fuel your training and they keep you full. For protein, chicken, eggs, lean beef, or white fish to maintain a high protein to fat ratio, more food per calorie. For snacks, I would make sure that there's a budget of 80 to 100 calories per day just to feel sane and avoid those extra cravings. Every week, I would factor in 1 or 2 flexible meals that still fits into your budget. And for your daily structure, 3 meals or 2 meals and 1 snack. That means you'll have potentially bigger meals, sometimes push later in the day, kind of like intermittent fasting, which does help. And this is where my clients finally break through, not through starving themselves, but by simply eating smarter. At this pace, it's about 1/4 to 1/2 kilo per week, which is 1/2 pound to 1 pound of fat loss per week. And by doing this, you get to eat more food, get to enjoy life, enjoy dinner with the family. And these are the exact systems that I build for my private CEO and professional clients who want to drop 20 to 50 pounds and get 6-pack lean with a busy lifestyle. If you want me to help you build yours, I've got limited spots open, details in the description. The biggest lesson I was missing, which would have got me ripped years earlier, is proper biofeedback tracking. Back then, I just ate super clean and hoped and prayed for the best to get lean, but tracking things like your nutrition, body comp, your metabolic burn, your strength, your recovery, by doing this, we can fine-tune things every week. And that is what's going to give you control, freedom, and the flexibility to adapt with life and actually make gradual fat loss sustainable. So if you want one-to-one support, apply for my metabolic recomp method. Link is in the description. Or if you would rather go solo, you can grab my full systems inside the Business Body Blueprint routine. And once you've done that, go watch this video next where I'll break down the truth about losing belly fat after 30.